Allora, dicevo, innanzitutto volevo farle i complimenti per La vita secondo Jim, perché comunque è un serial che mi ha appassionato tantissimo, siete veramente tutti bravi, sia lei che gli altri coprotagonisti. Dunque, lei ha detto che segue molto la televisione. Allora volevo fare una domanda. Tra le cose che segue, ci sono per caso prodotti italiani? E se sì, cosa ne pensa? Grazie.
Well, the only Italian product I'm familiar with is, according to Jim, with Massimo's great talent in it. Television-wise, I really haven't seen a lot of Italian TV, to be honest with you. Although when I was shooting the movie in Palermo, there was one show that we watched every night. It was a great show. It was Strip Poker, I think it was. Wasn't there a strip poker show? I was trying to buy the rights.
Credo che si riferisca a colpo grosso.
I was trying to buy the rights, and Francis Coppola bought them. So I'm not familiar. I'm more familiar with the cinema. You know, Italian cinema. Obviously, I was raised in the United States. I mean, like I said, in the educational institutions, in the film departments, it's the basis of our study. You know, so I love all Italian cinema. I don't know if that answers your question, because the television I'm not as familiar with. But what I do think is that this festival is about television, about fiction, and I'm hoping that this festival is a model for the future in the United States and elsewhere in the world, because television is really where it's at. And film, they have many film festivals. And the film festivals are all about just getting exposure for these films, because distribution costs so much, and there's so much money and pressure, and there's tons of film festivals, but television festivals is where it's at, I think so.
A nome del Roma Fiction Fest ringrazio Jim Belushi. Questa non era una battuta preparata, ve lo garantisco, perché ora potrò dormire veramente felice stasera. Abbiamo un'ultima domanda da parte vostra. Prego.
A sentire un pochino la sua carriera, non era così immediato immaginare che avrebbero proposto a lei il ruolo di Jim. Che cosa avevano visto? Per che cosa è nato questo abbinamento?
Well, it was based on a film I did called Return to Me. I don't know if you've seen that movie with David Duchovny and
yeah. Mimi.
Beautiful English actress.
Yes.
Minnie Driver. And it was a friend of mine, an improvisational director, actress who became the director and writer of that movie. I played a blue-collar husband. And my agents took like 8 minutes from that movie, and they went to ABC and said, look at this character he plays, don't you think this would be a good character for television? And they said, yes. So that was the basis of how, according to Jim happened, was my manager just pitched the network, and they liked the idea, and then I hired the writers, and then we wrote it, and then it goes on from there. But that's where it came from. But also it's, you know, they just don't make as many films anymore. And so that was my entrance to TV, and it was the best 8 years, man. I just loved it. I mean, that guy, Larry Joe Campbell, who plays my brother-in-law, is probably the best partner. No, I'm not going to say probably. He was the best partner I've ever had. We had fun in every moment of that show. And Courtney, who played Cheryl, I mean, we got along so good. She was so darling and cute, and it was just such a lovely relationship. I'm getting sentimental about it after seeing it, because I don't see it that often. It was really a great experience.
Ecco, a proposito di questo, si parla di una possibile serie tratta dai Blues Brothers. Come guarda lui a quel film, a quei personaggi serializzati?
Well, that is my sister-in-law, John's widow, and one of the writers from Saturday Night Live, Ann Beats. They've been working on it for a couple of years now, and I think it just hit the press. I'm not really involved in it. I don't really know too much about it, except for all the meetings that she takes, you know. So I really can't answer any questions about that because I just not much.
How do you watch to a program like this? Do you think that the Blues Brothers could become, could enter the world of TV?
I think so. I mean, I think there's a great recognition factor because it's a brand. I think it would help the original sales, and I think there'd be a lot of interest. But the execution has to be, you know, flawless, you know. And it's hard because, you know, the Blues Brothers was John and Danny, you know.
Yeah.
Those guys were magic, you know. I mean, they really didn't even talk that much in the movie, you know.
C'è una prima fila, credo, le dico il microfono, a lei l'onore e l'onere dell'ultima domanda.
Oh, make it good, make it good.
La mia è una domanda un po' più personale e io so che 3 anni fa...
These are yours.
Ok, ma non dovevi dirlo a tutti, però... Vabbè.
I'm so sorry. So sorry to embarrass you.
No, volevo sapere, invece so che 3 anni fa hai avuto la cittadinanza onoraria albanese e volevo sapere perché è stato così importante per te andare in un paese che, anche se era un paese di origine, in realtà era un paese che fondamentalmente non conoscevi, perché bene o male sei cresciuto negli Stati Uniti, sei nato lì, però che cosa rappresenta per te avere questo legame con un paese lontano che è il tuo, però alla fine?
I miss my dad. I really love my dad. And he was from there, from this little peasant mountain village on the border, Greek border in southern Albania. And I took him there. He hadn't been there for 60 years because it became a prison for 50 years. And it happened to be the last year of his life that I took him. And I took my son, my cousin, and me and him, my dad, and I took him on this trip. And my dad was a grumpy guy, you know. And he was very happy when he walked into the village, and everybody in the village was at the top of the hill waiting for him. And we went up, and they treated us so terrific, and he showed me the house, and he, you know, it was a beautiful, meaningful trip, not just the country, but with my father. And I think back at him as a man, even though he had great failures in his life, business-wise, and maybe even marriage-wise, which I'm not one to judge, but he was a gentle soul, a kind man. I don't know how loving he was, because he didn't talk that much, but I just, in the last 10 years of my life with him, I really fell in love with my father. And I was really sad when he passed. And even to this day, when it comes around Christmas time, I get really emotional, and I don't know why. I think, oh, it's the holidays, and my wife says to me, goes, "You miss your dad, don't you?" And I went, "Yeah, maybe that's it." So the search to go to Albania and visit, I think, is really the search of the love that I feel for my dad, and trying to understand him and where he came from and why he was the way he was, and how that affects me and how I am with my children. And besides that, they treat me like Elvis Presley when I'm there. I mean, there's only 3 famous Albanians: Mother Teresa, John Belushi, and me. And the other 2 are dead. They treat me terrifically. And it's an emerging country. These people were punished terribly for 50 years with that Hoxha. And they are very gentle, wonderful, warm people. And they've just been misfortune in history that they were stopped from growth. And they struggle now to break that 50 years. You know, 50 years, that's a generation. So it's going to take another 50 years for the young to grow and you know, change ways, you know. So to answer your question simply and complicatedly, I miss my dad.
Purtroppo il tempo a nostra disposizione finisce qui, però vi chiedo per favore di alzarvi in piedi con me e onorare Jim Belushi, che vince gli Alexander Award da Roma Fiction Fest 2011.